Have you ever watched a crime thriller or read a news piece and wondered how exactly a messy, chaotic crime scene actually turns into a structured courtroom trial? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to another Explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a cornerstone of the criminal justice system, the Challan, also known as the police report. We're going to unpack the exact mechanisms, the rules, and the rights that govern this incredibly pivotal document.
Our master blueprint for today maps out exactly how that chaotic crime scene gets transformed into a highly regulated legal document. Think of it as a complete legal cheat sheet for Section 173 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Now, if the process sounds a little dense at first, don't worry. We're going to isolate and explore each of these components step by step, so you'll walk away with a crystal clear understanding of the whole shebang.
Here's our roadmap for the episode. We'll cover what a Challan is, look inside the report, explore the 3 types of reports, discuss procedure and accused rights, and finally, reveal the golden rule. Let's jump right into Section 1. What is a Challan? The foundation of the case. Okay, so let's dive into this definition. In plain terms, a Challanan isn't just your everyday run-of-the-mill paperwork. It's the official, detailed police report submitted under Section 173 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Basically, it's the formal notification to the court that the police have completely wrapped up their investigation. It acts as this crucial bridge between a crime being investigated out on the streets and a case actually being heard inside a courtroom. To really wrap your head around the justice system, I want you to think of it like a chronological relay race. You've got to remember this crucial distinction. The police run the investigation leg of the race, but the court runs the prosecution leg, right? The police are out there gathering facts and collecting evidence, but they do not decide guilt. Their job stops at the investigation. Once they're done, they pass the baton to the court, which takes over for the prosecution phase. Mixing these two up is a super common misconception, but keeping them strictly separate is absolutely vital to ensuring a fair system. It stops the police from acting as both the investigator and the judge. So, why do we actually need this specific document? Well, the Challan is purposefully designed to do 4 distinct things. First, it informs the court about the results of the investigation. Second, it officially places all that collected evidence right in front of the judge. Third, it explicitly shows whether there's actually enough evidence to justify a trial. And finally, it gives the court everything it needs to take the appropriate legal action. It's essentially the ultimate summary package of all the police's hard work. The chronological flow of our legal relay race works like a clear timeline. Let's say there's a theft. First, the police investigate. Then, they collect evidence and record statements. Once they have everything put together, they prepare the Challan under Section 173. That document is then submitted directly to the court. Finally, based on that report, the court takes cognizance, which basically just means formally taking notice of the crime, and boom, the trial starts. It's a remarkably clean, logical progression from the streets straight to the judge's bench. Moving right along to Section 2, inside the police report, breaking down Section 173, subsection 2. So what exactly is written on this baton being passed to the judge? Section 173.2 leaves literally no room for improvisation. It mandates a strict 6-point checklist. The police must systematically list out 1. The witnesses examined. 2. Any documents or material objects they've seized. 3. A brief statement of the facts. 4. The particulars of the offense and the names of the accused. 5. A conclusion on whether an offense actually appears to have been committed. And crucially, number 6. If sufficient evidence is not found, they absolutely have to state the reasons why. This is brilliant because it ensures the court isn't just left guessing and cases aren't quietly dropped without a solid legal justification. That brings us to Section 3. 3 types of reports and the paths forward. Because, not all investigations end the same way. The path forward actually splits into 3 distinct possibilities. First up, there's the positive Challan. This is when police find sufficient evidence that a crime occurred, the report is filed, and the case heads to court. Second is the final or closure report. This happens when the police just don't find enough evidence. They file this and the case is closed by the court. But what if they find new clues later down the line? That's the third type, a supplementary report under Section 173.8. This allows them to submit new, additional evidence even after that initial Challan was filed. To really anchor these different reports in your memory, here's a fantastic little cheat code straight from our source material. Just remember the acronym CPFS, which perfectly aligns with the phrase, police presents facts to court.
CPFS stands for Challan, Police, Final, and Supplementary. It's a simple, foolproof way to remember that the police are the ones presenting the final facts, whether they lead to a full trial or just a closure, directly to the court. Let's transition to Section 4, Procedure and Accused Rights, looking at the handoff and protections. Now, this handoff isn't just some administrative rubber stamp. Once the police submit the report, the court actively scrutinizes it. The judge acts as a really critical filter here. Only if the court reviews the Challan and agrees that sufficient evidence exists do they actually take cognizance. If that threshold is met, the case officially proceeds to trial. Think of it like the court meticulously checking the police's homework before allowing the immense weight and stress of a trial to fall on anyone's shoulders. And a crucial point to remember here is that the accused isn't just left in the dark during this handoff. The law guarantees them some pretty robust rights. For instance, they have the absolute right to be informed about the contents of the Challan. Under Section 207 of the CrPC, they have the explicit right to be supplied with copies of all these documents. Plus, they can object if they believe the report is incomplete or false. All of this culminates in the overarching right to a fair trial. The whole system is designed to level the playing field, making sure you can't be ambushed by secret, undisclosed evidence at trial. Furthermore, the law demands rigorous efficiency to protect those rights. A major takeaway here is that the Challan must be filed within 24 hours of the completion of the investigation. The clock is literally ticking. If there's any delay whatsoever, the police are legally required to explain exactly why to the judge. And remember, the court retains ultimate authority. After examining it, the magistrate has the power to either accept or completely refuse the Challan. And finally, we arrive at Section 5, the Golden Rule, our ultimate takeaway. Let's test your focus real quick with a short quiz. Based on everything we've just covered today about this document being the police's baton passed to the court, the rigorous checklists, the strict judicial scrutiny, is a Challan actual proof of guilt, or is it merely a police opinion? Take a second to think about who runs which leg of that relay race we talked about earlier. Well, the answer is, it's just an opinion. A Challan is absolutely not proof of guilt, and that brings us to our profound golden rule. The Challan is not the end, it is merely the beginning of the trial. In our justice system, the court decides guilt, never the police. The police investigate, and they present their structured findings through the Challan, but the scales of justice are balanced solely by the court. But this leaves us with a pretty critical question to ponder. If the court heavily relies on the police to gather the facts for this Challan, what happens when the initial investigation is flawed from the very start? Can a fair trial ever truly spring from a biased police report? Think about that for a bit, and we'll see you in the next explainer.